Right, morning guys. Today, people ask me all the time, why is construction a good business model? And I think construction is a great first business model to get into because ultimately it's just a service-based model. It's quite simple, it's quite straightforward. You supply a service, which is building a project, or if it's a trade, you know, you're fitting something in someone's house, in someone's unit or their office or whatever it is. It's quite very simple. You know, a client wants something doing, you price it up, you do it, you get paid, end of. I think it's a great business model to learn. And I think if you can master a construction business, you'll be able to master a lot more as you develop and you get older and you go into different business models and different stuff, because construction's fucking challenging, really hard. It's a lot harder than what people think. It's very demanding in the sense of just the amount of just different things going on with it, you know. And ultimately it's quite straightforward in like what you do. You know, if you build an extension for someone, you just build an extension. Like it's not rocket science. You know, you dig out the ground, you get in the brickwork, put a roof on, you know, and off you go. It's quite simple when you know what you're doing, obviously, you know, your trades or whatever it is. But what comes with that is trying to organise work back to back, having enough work coming in, having the right labour to be able to do that, having the right marketing to be able to get that, dealing with things going wrong on site, because it does happen, shit happens, being firmly in control of all the numbers, the finances, and actually, you know, quite a complicated thing with invoices coming in, invoices going out. Pricing's got to be bang on the money, tracking money's got to be perfect, VAT returns, client's not paying you on time, client's paying you late, client's not paying at all. It will pull you from pillar to post, but it will really teach you and allow you to learn a lot about business and a lot about people. And I don't think really there's any other industry that will show you quite the extremes, because it's fucking hard as well. You know, when it's weather like this, you know, it's pissing it down right now. Never ever forget that there's always lads on site doing physical work. Like, it's physical graft, it's brutal, it's hard, you know, and it takes its toll on your body. But when it's fucking wet, it's fucking freezing, and you know, things like scaffolders touching cold fucking metal poles, and it's like burning your hands because it's so cold. Then equally, when it's really hot, the fucking poles are burning through your hands again because they're fucking roasting. Like, it's fucking hard. It's really, really hard. And for me, the construction industry, first and foremost, taught me fucking hard graft. Like, work your fucking tits off. From the age of like 13, you know, the harder you work, the quicker you get the job done, the quicker you got to go home, and you got paid the same money. So it was like, well, let's get it done and fucking smash it out, you know. And a lot of people have that mentality in construction. But then as you get more involved in the business side of it and actually getting, you know, really quite tested of just the demands and the stress of running it all, and actually having to go on a real big fucking journey of learning to deal with a lot of stuff, you know, a lot of, you know, recruitment and just all sorts of stuff that comes up. And it's difficult, you know, it's a fast learning curve, it's a steep learning curve. But that's what I mean, that's why I think it's a great model, because it will give you the tools to be able to do any business you want, and it gives you a lot of wit about yourself as well, because you learn a lot about people in construction. You learn a lot about salt of the earth people, your people at the very, not the bottom because that's the wrong word, but you know, your labourers, your decorators, your scaffolders, all your different trades. You learn about those people, and they're the people that are really the backbone of the country. You know, they're desperate to get paid on a Friday. And you know, they haven't got much going on, and it's a big deal for them. You know, they work their tits off, but every penny's so important, and you learn a lot about that side of people, which is, I think, is really strong. Because like I say, you can never ever forget that ultimately any job, doesn't matter how big it is, it could be a £2.5 million big fit out. There's lads on site doing that work, and they're all going home, you know, waiting for their pay slip on a Friday and going home to a family with kids or whatever else, and just trying to earn a few quid. So you learn from that, you know, a lot about people from that side of stuff. But then obviously you learn about the higher contractual side of this industry. You learn a lot about higher end clients, especially do the higher end works and how they operate and what they expect and what their standards are. And you know, you just learn a fucking shitload, and I think it's just the best model to get started within a business, of a nice solid service-based business. You can get started quite quickly, no real capital needed to get going at the very start early on, and you can get your teeth stuck into a really decent business model. You can make really good money as well, providing you're doing it right and you've got all of your costs organised properly. You know, your pricing work on the button, and you've got a nice clear set profit margin on it, and you're not just working for day rates. This is where a lot of people go wrong. But you can learn a lot about in and out business, because you can just be doing a lot of it. You can turn it over, you can churn through jobs, and you can learn quite quickly. And I think that's just a great business model to learn from. And I'll be honest, if you can crack construction, like I say, you'll have all the tools to be able to do whatever business you want anyway, because it's so demanding and it's so, there's a lot to it. There's just a fucking lot to it. So I think for younger people watching this, you might be watching, is like, just crack on with it. It's got a bit of a dirty name now of like, oh, I don't want to do manual work, I don't want to be involved in this. But you don't if you're running the business properly. You've got other people doing the work for you. You're basically the middleman. And this is what actually construction is. Like when you do it properly, you're just a middleman. You go and win work, you price it correctly with a margin in the middle, you get other people to do it, they've got fixed costs, you use subcontractors, you use labour, and you take that bit in the middle, that nice bit of margin, and you just keep doing that, you know. And it's just a solid, nice, easy model to get into and just work to and just earn some money from. You know, it's not complicated whatsoever. It's not like other industries where you need to go and buy 50 grand worth of stock for an online shop or something, or you know, anything like that, and then if you don't sell it, you're fucked, because you've got redundant stock sitting there, and you've actually just got a massive debt of shit just sitting there not earning any money. So I think it's just fantastic for that, and a great model to be in. So if you're on the fence about getting into construction, I think crack on with it. It's a great model. You will learn a hell of a lot about business, but you'll learn a hell of a lot about yourself as well. It will really push you, and it does burn people. There are people that can't hack it, don't tolerate it, and you know, it's too much for them because it's so demanding. But if you push on through it and make a few quid out of it, you do well, and you know, it can set you up for any other business that you want to do later on. And I think as an entrepreneur, you don't just do one business for the rest of your life. Your first business will likely go tits up, or you'll want to get out of it. The stats, you know, prove that. You know, most people don't make it on their first business. Your second business is the one that you might make a good few bit of money out of, but then eventually you get out, you either sell it or close it down or pass it on to management buyout or whatever else. And you can just keep doing businesses as long as you fucking like as an entrepreneur. So don't look at it as just like you're doing this forever. Look at it as it's a part of the journey of developing you as a business person, as an entrepreneur yourself, and I think that's the way to look at it smartly. So that's my take on it. That's it for today. I'll see you on the next one. Bosh.